So, dear friends, we are going to be study your last chapter, properties of matter, and one part of the chapter, that is surface tension. We are already studying. Now we consider the second half of the chapter, that is an elasticity. So elasticity is well known for you because it is can be observed in a daily life. So it is nothing but the properties of the body by virtue of which it deform by the application of the deforming force and return to original shape after removing of the deforming force. Deforming force means you have to apply external force to that body. That force it is responsible for the deformation of the body. So it is called as force is called as a deforming force. So this property is shown by that material is called as elastic material, and to regain its original shape and size after removing the external force, that property is called as elasticity. So example of the elasticity is the shock absorber of the vehicle is required. Shock absorber of the vehicle, natural rubber, metallic wire, spider web, steel, graphite. And these are the graphite. Steel is a very hard you have to think, but if you apply the force within the elastic limit, then it will be show the properties of the elasticity. Now second case is an plasticity. Plasticity is an opposite of the elasticity. So it is the properties of the body by virtue of which it deforms permanently and never regains its original shape after removing of the deforming force. Means when you apply the force to that body and body change its original size and shape, and if you remove your external deforming force, then body do not come to its original shape. That is called as a plasticity. So the material which shows the plasticity property is called as a plastic material. So example is a weight, clay, rigid body like rock, metallic, glass, etc. So it should be remembered this elasticity and plasticity is a different thing. So it should be remembered it is an exactly opposite. So elasticity and plasticity. So in elasticity we consider there is one external force. That force is called as a deforming force. Now you need to consider the external force is applied to that elastic body, so there is a change in the shape and size. So in mechanics we can be consider that force is related to the stress. So stress is another one parameter which is related to the elasticity properties, and it is defined as the force applied per unit area. Now the stress is nothing but your internal restoring force per unit area. It is nothing but internal restoring force per unit area. Means when you have to apply the external force to the body, the restoring force will be the act. The internal restoring force will be introduced to that body. So when you have to remove your external force, then internal restoring force having the ability to be restore its original size and shape. So internal restoring force and applied force is exactly in opposite direction. Now if internal force and applied force is equal in magnitude, then what happens? If it is an equal in magnitude, then body do not be shows the any change. Okay. So stress can be defined in a two way. One is it is nothing but ratio of the applied force per unit area, and another is nothing but the internal restoring force per unit area of the body. So these are the two way we can be define the restoring stress. Now we will be defined it's a formula by using the definition that it is nothing but applied force per area. That is a force. Force P up and A is the area where you apply the force. So F is the force and A is an area where we apply the application of the force. Now the unit for the stress is newtons per meter square. So force is a newton and area is a meter square. So this is in SI system. If you have to go for the seizures, then we got the inner seizures. There is an dyne per centimeter square. So this is for the seizures. Should we remember it is for the seizures. So should we remember it is an seizures. Now there are the two type of the stresses. One is a tensile stress and another is a compressive stress. So it is the force applied per unit area which is a result in the increase in the length of the body. Means those forces which are responsible to increase the length of the body, that is called as a tensile. Another is a compressive stress. Now this is also here is a force is applied per area, but this result is the decrease in the length of the body. Decrease in the length of the body. That is a compressive length of the body. So it is called as a compressive stress. Now when you have to consider this is a way, so it can be defined as solid stress, that is a Macquarrie stress is defined as a force divided by the cross sectional area. So there are the two types of force. One is a normal stress, another is a shearing stress. Now when you have to apply the force, there is a stress. Stress is nothing but force per in the area. When you have to apply this stress, there is a result of that applied stress is a strain. Means whatever may be the change is occurring, observing in your body is nothing but the strain. So what quantity of the change is done in your body is measured by the strain. So we will define this strain. It is a very simple. It is the amount of the deformation experienced by the body in the direction of the force applied. What will be the deformation? Deformation means change in occur in the body in the direction of your applied force divided by its initial dimension of the body. So in simple you can consider that if there is a length is and changes, then you can define their change in the length to its original length. So the relation for the deformation in terms of the length of the solid is given as a change in the length per unit original length is called as a strain. Strain is nothing but the change. What do you mean the change in occurring with respect to its original dimension, which is known as a strain. Suppose there is a delta L is a change in the length due to the applied force here. So L is the original length. Then what happens? It is the ratio of these two. We got the strain delta L divided by L. So strain is nothing but ratio of the two dimensions. So its unit is zero. That is, it is unit length. There is no dimension because dimension and divided by will cancel each other. So dimensionless quantity. Now depending upon what type of the stress is present there, strain is also divided into parts, two types. One is the tensile strain and another is the compressive strain. When the stress is a tensile stress, then there is a change in the length of the body due to the application of the tensile. That is a change in the length. That is called as a tensile strain. If change in the length of the body, it is the application of the compressive stress. That is a change in the body. It is related to the parathenic. It is in the form of the compressive of the length. Then it is called as a compressive strain. Now there is one more important thing is elasticity will be start the study with by the hooks. So Hooks is one of the best scientists which is gives the phenomenon of the elasticity. So it gives the principle of the physics in elasticity. So it is given that is force is needed to be extend or compress over the spring by the some distance, and that is proportional to the word distance. So within the there are the three types of the tensile stress. Friction is considered Hooke's law first. So within the elastic limit, within the elastic constant or elastic limit, within the elastic limit, it is the elastic limit is an proper word. You should be remember within the elastic limit, a stress is directly proportional to the strain. Since it is the relation between your applied force and whatever the change is occurring in your body. So applied force is nothing but the stress, and whatever the change in occur in your body is nothing but the strain. So the relation between the stress and strain is given by the Hooke's law, and according to the Hooke's law, stress is directly proportional to strain, but it is within the elastic limit. So it is given in 1679 by the Robert Hooke. So proportional constant is an your elastic constant. When you have to consider stress is an directly proportional to the strain. So this proportional constant we have to write there. It is called as the elastic constant. Elastic constant. So it is a elastic constant. Now this figure gives the relation between the stress and strain. Stress and strain is an increase up to the point A. So there is a linear relation between stress and strain within the elastic limit. So suppose sigma is denoted for stress and strain is by the epsilon. So you get the sigma is an direct proportional epsilon. If you have to write this E. Now this is E is an your proportional constant, that is called elastic constant. Now elastic constant is nothing but the ratio of the stress to the strain. And so unit is a unit the same as an over the stress, because strain having the no unit. So within the elastic limit, stress is a directly proportional strain. This is an over the Hooke's law. So this is followed by the any body. So that in this case you can be considered deformation is very small. If the deformation is very large, that is behind the elastic limit, then this relation is not to be related to each other. Now according to the stress and strain, there are the three types of the strain and three types of stress. This is your tensile stress. This is nothing but the corresponding stress is your the tensile stress or longitudinal strain. It is also tensile stress or longitudinal strain. So ratio of the increase in the length to the original length of the body. So when it is subjected or pulled the force. Force is an your tensile force. So it should be remembered increase in the length per unit length per unit original length is known as the tensile strain. Now then the ratio of the decrease in the length to the original length of the body when it is applied to the force, that is the decrease in the length. So there may be the negative sign here, because there is a decrease in the length is decreasing. Then there is a volume strain, that is the ratio of the change of the volume to its original volume. So it is called as a volumetric strain. Now this is an Hooke's law. According to the Hooke's law, there is an elastic limit. So it should be remember there is a boundary. That is a boundary which is classified your material in two types. So below the elastic limit, now this is the X is an at the elastic limit. So this is your boundary. So below this elastic limit, we say that your spring or any material showing the elastic behavior, the extension is a proportional to the force. It means whatever the strain is, and you have to observe it is directly proportional to the stress. Where? Below the elastic limit, that is at certain value. At below the certain value, it is a valid, the stress is directly proportional to strain. So if you are to remove your applied force, it comes to its original shape and size. So it is called as within the elastic limit. Stress is directly proportional to strain. But what happens? If the force you have to increase and increase, that is the stress if you have to increase and increase. So behind the elastic limit, if you have to continuously you have to apply the force, and if you have to move at above a certain value, then and if you have to remove the deforming force or external force or you have to stress, then it is do not come to its original shape and size. So it is do not be come to its original state, so it is not a elastic behavior, it is called as a plastic behavior. So when your force is applied to that body to deform, they displace the deform. So when the force you have to remove, means deformation will be the retained in your material when you have to apply the force is remove. So this is the two boundaries, that is one is an within the elastic limit or below the elastic limit, and another is behind the elastic limit. So this is a graphical representation of the relation between the stress and strain. Here is the elastic limit. So below this there is a stress is directly proportional to strain. This is limit of proportionality. That is called. If you have to go from this point to this point, now here is an L point, means here will be the break the your. If you have to increasing your the stress, here will be the break. If you have to increasing there, so this is the relation. Now we consider if unlimited strain is a surface, then there is solid will be fracture, means there is a breakdown. When your applied stress is an increase and increase and increase, there is a certain stage where your solid material is the fracture. Okay, so this is an unlimited state increase. So here is a breakdown. So this is an here. Above this there is an plasticity. So this is an about your the stress and strain relation. Now according to the values of the elastic limit, so there are the two types of the material. One is the ductile and another is the brittle. So this is a ductile. Ductile means it is a soft material. Means it is continue to stretch behind its unlimited strain. If you apply the force, it will be the continuity stretch behind the unlimited strain without breaking. So break no hota, it will be without breaking, it will be the increase its strain of its length, and stress the decreases from the unlimited. Means at the behind this, above this, behind this, there is stress is a decreases, means a small quantity of the applied force is required to be increased its length. Means strain will be the occurring in a low value of the stress or low value of the applied force behind the unlimited strain. But it is not a break. So it is called as a ductile. But in case of the another some materials which do not be like the ductile, means if you have to increase your stress behind your unlimited strain, there is no such type of the observation is occurring in some material, but it will be a break here. So it is called as a brittle. It is a hard material. It is called as a brittle, or it is called as a hard material. So it is the break here. So this is known as a ductile and brittle. So it should be remember it. Now consider there are the three stresses available, and there is a corresponding there are the three strain. So if you have to consider the Hooke's law, the ratio between the stress to the strain. So it is a stress to the strain. So this is the stress to the strain. Yes, here is and there. So it is a stress to the strain. Now there are the three type of the stress. So longitudinal stress, volume stress, and shearing stress. Okay. So there is also corresponding strain, longitudinal strain, volume strain, and shearing strain. So there are the three elastic constant, modulus of elasticity. So we consider one by one. Three elastic constant. So first is the Young's modulus. So Young modulus is nothing but the modulus of elasticity or the elastic constant. When we consider there is a Young's modulus, we can consider if the earth force is applied along to the length of this wire, that is the length of our body is very much greater than its diameter of the body. So it is greater than the width or thickness of the body or wire. We consider here wire. So we are considering the longitudinal modulus or longitudinal stress they are present. So we consider the corresponding elastic constant is called as the Young's modulus. It is called also longitudinal modulus. So Young's modulus is nothing but the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal. If you have to define the Young's modulus, so Young's modulus is defined as the ratio of the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain. Now suppose there are the L is the length of the wire, so you have to apply force in at this end, that is P end, in a downward direction. So what happens? So due to this force there is an increase in the length. So suppose there are the delta L is an increase in the length. So what happens? This is a increase in the length after applying force. There is a total length is an L plus delta L. L plus delta L. So we got change in the dimension. So according to the definition of your stress is nothing but force per unit area. Now you have to consider this is your wire. So you have to apply force application area is only this. So when you have to consider F is your magnitude of the force and applied area is your cross-sectional area of this wire. So suppose A is the cross-sectional area of this wire, then the longitudinal stress is nothing but force per unit area. So force per unit area. So you got the force per unit area. Now consider there is a longitudinal strain is now this is a change in the length, that is increase in the length is delta L and there is an original length is L. So you take the ratio, you got the delta L divided by L. So you got the L divided by A into delta L. So FL divided by A into, that is only mathematical manipulation, we got the F. So suppose F is an mg, so it can be this equation is modified, is be as like this. So we get the mg L divided by, if the R is a cross-sectional area radius, so R is the radius of the wire, that is cross-sectional area, we got the again pi R square delta L. So this is about the Young's modulus. Now it's a unit. This is the ratio of the stress to strain. Strain is unitless, so stress unit is the same as for the Young's modulus. It is the SI unit is the newtons per meter square, and the CGS, so it is for the CGS is a dyne per centimeter square. So this is about the Young's modulus. Now you should be remember the solid materials possess the Young's modulus, but liquid and gases do not possess the Young's modulus properties. So this is an Young's modulus. Now consider the next elastic constant is an bulk modulus. Now bulk modulus can be say that it is nothing but the compressibility of the fluid or solid. Bulk modulus is related to the compressed of the body. If something is a highly compressible, it has a low bulk modulus. The compressibility and bulk modulus is an inversely proportional to each other. So if there is a high compressible, then there is a low bulk modulus. If there is a high bulk modulus, then there is a low compressible. So if you have to consider here, we can consider this figure, can be understand is better. So suppose there is one spherical ball or any sphere, so having the volume is an V. Initially this is the ball. So we consider this is outer circle It is initially V is an your the volume of the your ball. So this is the original volume. So V is an your original volume. V is an your the original volume. V is an your the original volume. Original, so volume. So we got the original value. Now suppose you have to apply the force per unit area is nothing but strain. Now force per unit area is nothing but your pressure. This is the relation between force and area. That is your applied pressure. Force per unit area is nothing but your pressure. Now due to this, there is an increase in the volume, that is decrease in the volume is a V. That is here is an V dash. You have to forget it V dash. So small v is an your the decrease in the value. Okay, decrease in the value. So what is V divided by? So it can be defined the volume strain is nothing but the change in the volume to the original volume. So change in the volume is V divided by original volume is capital V. This is a stress is nothing but your P, that is F upon A. You have write the F upon A divided by V upon V. So this is nothing your irregular, that is your volume stress. This is your the volume strain. So there is a decrease in the volume, V minus V. So we got this. This is nothing but your P. So we can be written here. This is your P divided by P divided by P. So we got here P divided by P. So this is nothing but your the bulk modulus K. Now consider there is an increase in the pressure is a dP. Means this is your suppose the initial pressure is an P and you have to apply the additional pressure is an dP. So there is a total pressure is an dP. So increase in the pressure. This is an your the upturn. You have to have increasing the your pressure by dP. So increase the pressure or additional pressure is nothing but difference between these two pressures. So you got the it is equal to the dP. So dP is a very small pressure. So small pressure dP. So there is a small, so suppose the original volume is V and there is an this is an volume. So change in the volume is suppose the dV. Now this is an original volume. So you got the dV. Now there is a decrease in the volume because the final volume is it is a small volume, that is capital V. So you got the V minus V. There is a minus dV because volume is decreased, so negative sign is there. So minus dP is an your additional pressure, dV is a change in this. So it can be defined. That is a change in length is V. There is a V. P, small capital V. So we got the K is equal to there is a P is an your additional pressure, so dP is an your additional pressure divided by change in the volume is now dV. Now dV is now negative sign. Its original volume is V. So we got K is equal to minus V dP upon dV. dP upon dV. So this is an your the bulk modulus. It is called as a bulk modulus. So why there is a negative sign? There is a decrease in the volume. So it is a reciprocal of you take the bulk modulus, we got the compressibility. It is a compressibility. SI unit is the same as a newtons per meter square. Cesium is in lines per centimeter square. So this is the same as the Young's modulus. So this is about your the bulk modulus. This is the different ways. The symbol will be vary, but its meaning is the same. That is your original volume phi. There is an increase in the value and there is a decrease in the value. So this is another. Now we consider the next, that is third elastic constant is a modulus of elasticity. So modulus of the rigidity is the coefficient of the elastics for the shearing force. Now it is defined. It is nothing but the ratio of the shearing stress to the shearing strain. Shearing stress to the displacement per unit original length, that is nothing but your shearing strain. Change in length is the original length, but it is now shearing stress, so there is a shearing strain. Shearing stress. So modulus of rigidity symbol is an eta, so we got the ratio shearing stress shear stress divided by shear strain. So it is called as a shearing stress to the shearing strain. This is simple formula for modulus of rigidity. Now we will consider this. This is a, suppose there are the one key when you have to consider. You have to apply the tangential force in this direction. This surface, bottom surface is fixed to the rigid surface. Your force is applied to this upper face. Okay. So suppose A is an area of the face of the cube. So there is an height of the cube is h, that is h, everything h. It is cube. So tensile strain are considered to be positive in case of producing increase in length. So it is an increase in length. If there is a decrease in length, so there is a compression strain. Okay. So now we consider this is the actually formula for the shearing modulus of rigidity or shear modulus, same thing. Shear stress to the angle of shear is nothing but shearing strain. Now we consider this figure. So if you have to observe this figure and this figure is same, only you have to give the name as like this. So should be remember. So this is the A. Now it can be the change this symbol. This is the A. So it can be considered this is now A for our purpose. A, B, C and D suppose. Okay. So this is the A dash. This is your B dash. Okay. So your tangential force is applied in this direction. A bottom face is fixed to the rigid. So when you have to apply the force tangentially to this face, and there is an opposite force in acting on this, but it isn't fixed to the rigid surface. So according to the definition, shearing stress is nothing but force per stress is nothing but force per unit area. Here is a tangential force, here is a shearing stress because there is a tilt. So shearing stress, it is equal to shearing force per unit area under the E. Then shearing strain is a relative displacement of the any layer to its distance from the fixed layer. Means displacement of that layer divided by this face distance from your fixed rigid surface. Suppose here is the H. Suppose this is an ever change. So A, due to the applied force, A will go from A to the A dash position, B will go from the B to the B dash position. So suppose there is a change in the length is an X. H is a height. Now shearing strain is given by the tan theta. It is the ratio of this length to this length. So tan theta. Theta is very small. When you have to consider solid material, there is a tilting is a very small. Shearing is a very small. So angle is very small. So tan theta is equal to theta when theta is very small. So tan theta is equal to x divided by h. X divided by, so we call x divided by h. So if you put the modulus of rigidity equation, shearing stress to shearing strain. Shearing strain is the force per unit area, so write the force per unit area divided by the theta. So if you are writing f upon a theta, f upon a theta. So f upon a sometimes is called as a torque. So we got the torque upon theta. If you have to put theta is equal to f upon h, we got the h is going to out perfect. So f h divided by x. So this is the modulus of the rigidity. So it is nothing but shearing stress to shearing strain. This is about the modulus of rigidity. This is the third elastic constant, and its unit is the same as an Young's modulus and bulk modulus. Its SI unit is same newtons per meter square CJ times per. Now, solid material possesses all three elastic constant: Young's modulus, bulk modulus, and modulus of rigidity. But liquid and gases possess the only bulk modulus. Liquid and gases possess the bulk modulus. So this is an about the three elastic constant. You should be remember this is same. So length according to along the length forces and there is changes. So it is called a Young's modulus. This is a change in your volume. So it is called a bulk modulus. This is your shearing angle. So it is called a shear modulus. So this is about three elastic constant. Then we consider there is one more Poisson ratio, but we will see Poisson ratio. It can be defined here. Poisson ratio in it may be the next lecture. So we'll be stop here.